All right, guys, today we're going to talk about political parties. So make sure you have your graphic organizer out and you're ready to write some things down. Be ready for an assessment when you return to class. All right, so the essential questions that we're going to focus on. The first one, how do citizens participate in government? So we're going to be visiting that question throughout the entire unit. And then specifically today, we're going to look at what role do political parties play in our democracy? What is the most effective party system? What is the most effective way to nominate candidates? And what role do third parties play in politics? So if you can answer all of those questions by the end of this, you should be good to go. So we have several different systems. The first system we're going to talk about is a one-party system. And a one-party system just means that there's one party dominating in that country. So usually found in authoritarian governments. I give you some examples right there. Cuba, Vietnam, North Korea, or a theocracy such as Iran, where they focus on religion and politics at the same time. There's a multi-party system, which is pretty self-explanatory. There's more than one political party. Most European countries have a multi-party system, and because they have so many parties, they have to form coalitions. So the parties have to come together and agree to compromise in order to get something done. A two-party system is what we have here in the United States, where two major parties have always dominated. And when we get to class, I'm going to show you the evolution of how two parties have always dominated. We have third parties. It's just that only Republicans and Democrats, or only two major parties, have dominated throughout our history. So we have a two-party system in the United States. The functions of the party, basically the party is trying to help office seekers win elections. So they're organizing to try to get somebody elected, and then once they get that person elected, solve the problem or a problem when they take that office. In order to get their party nominated or their candidate nominated, they have to mobilize voters, and so they have to motivate their members of their party to go out and vote for the candidate that they want to win. We'll talk about how political parties have evolved over time when we get to class. Third parties are basically any other party that exists other than the major two parties. The first type of third party is a single issue party, and they, like the name of their party or like the name of the type of their party, they focus on one single issue. So an example would be the Liberty Party or the Free Soil Party, where maybe the Free Soil Party, they were formed to take stronger stances on slavery. So it's a very specific issue, and they don't have many issues that they're covering, just one. Ideological party wants overall change. So examples would be the Social Labor Party, the Communist Party, Libertarian Party. They want to change many things about society. And the last one is a splinter party, and a splinter party splits away from a major party. So Teddy Roosevelt was the candidate for the Bull Moose Party. That party split away from the Republican Party. So he won as a Republican, but when he ran the second time under the Bull Moose Party, he actually lost. So it's very difficult for third parties to gain any advantages. The way that they impact elections is that they take away from the traditional parties. So if you have a liberal party or a conservative party, they might take votes away from the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. The other way that they impact elections is that they get their issue heard, and so a lot of the times the major parties will adopt the third party issues. For third parties, you don't see many third party candidates get elected because it's difficult for them to get on the ballot. They have to get thousands and thousands of signatures in each state, so they have to go through each state and try to get on the ballot if they're not one of the major parties. They're all elected by single member districts throughout the United States, so it's difficult to, if you're not getting all of the vote in that district, there's no way for you to get into that district, to win that district. And then they lack the money and the resources to run an effective campaign. Nobody's going to give to your party because you're not effective. Typically, you don't win And so it's very hard to fundraise. And if you don't have any money, you don't have any resources and any way to run a campaign. The way that these candidates are nominated is in section 3. So we're going to talk first, most likely about primaries and caucuses. So if you want to circle star highlight on your notes, primaries and caucuses, those are the two major ways that we elect our candidates, although nominating conventions have been used or petitions have been used, but typically it's a caucus or a primary. We have open and closed primaries. Missouri has an open primary, so that means that you go into the voting booth and you can select a Democratic ballot or a Republican ballot. It doesn't matter what party you are, but you can only vote for the party that you choose. In a closed primary, you have to be registered to that party and you can only vote for that party. So if I'm a registered Republican, I can only vote for Republicans in the primary. And primaries are pretty long. They extend from January to June, the year before the election or the year of the election. So in 2016, starting in January, that's when the primaries and the caucuses will start. New Hampshire has the first primary and Iowa has the first caucus. These two states don't have much else going on besides the fact that they are very politically minded. And this is a big deal in New Hampshire and Iowa because it's the first. And so it's kind of sets the stage for who is going to win the election. And if they fare well in New Hampshire and in Iowa, they have a really good chance of winning the rest of these states. Then they go to the national convention, and that's where they decide who the candidate is going to be. This usually takes place during the summer before the election, and they have many speakers from their party trying to motivate the party. They set their platform here, their agenda of what they want to do, and they get ready to kick off the election season to carry them into November, which is the general election. Like I said, the platform is just what their stance is on the issues. So how they feel about the economy, war, abortion, it could be any issue, and what their stance is. How are they going to win, and how are they going to promote those issues in their favor to win voters? All right, well, thanks for watching, and it was quick, so go back and pause it or start it over or look at it again and be ready for a quiz when we come back to class. Thanks for watching.